Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry, my YouTube channel kind of just did something freaky right when I started, so I had to restart it, and it was weird. I don't know, but how are you guys all doing? Happy Tuesday. I feel like I need to show proof of life. It's me. Here, I'll do this. What's up, Flash fan? Hello, Gabby. You're only here for the Mannequin saga? Well, they're still in the courtroom. I'm not either. Good try. Good try, but I'll look. So, how's everybody doing? Hello, Annabelle. And I just want you guys to know I appreciate everyone that showed up last night. I wasn't like trying to trick anybody. It's my daughter in law's birthday. We had a family thing. So I was there. Um, so Monday is my husband's birthday. So I won't do a pre recorded thing. I just won't do anything. Is that okay? I I mean, I don't care to do something. It's fine. But yeah, I felt kind of bad. But anyway, we'll figure that out. I won't normally be starting this late. I figured people were watching Valo. Obviously, her Friday schedule this time screwed me up from being able to do that. So I was just trying to give everybody time to get done with that or mostly done. I don't know if they're done. I kind of tuned out of that because I just did. So whatever. We know where she's going. She's already been sentenced. It doesn't matter what happens here. So anyway, that's all I got for you. I can't think of anything. I did hear that Reed may go to the jury on Friday. I will believe that when I see it. Um, there was a poll that Court TV put up tonight, so I was like, well, take it for funsies and see what happens. And 74% said not guilty. I was like, you're not doing well when you've lost Court TV. That is the guiltiest of guilt crowds I've seen. Uh, so I was like, wow, all right. Yes, it will be nice. I don't want to have to hear Bev or Brennan. Yeah, I heard that. Like Fashion, I was shocked. I was like, if they, and I was shocked that the state was only calling, I think, Welcher for rebuttal. I'm like, all right, that's not who I would rest on, but not my case. I think I would have just thrown in the towel, but again, nobody asked me. All right, back to what we're doing. So, sorry, these are paused in weird places, but this is where we ended yesterday. And the mannequins, um, sorry. I didn't, I, I really, honestly, if I'm honest with you, I didn't see it till just now when I put it up there because I had the timestamp written down and I just went to that. So I didn't see it when I put it up there. I was like, okie dokie. Sorry. It does look that way, but I couldn't tell for sure, Puddletown, if the I couldn't. I don't know that that's where that's at. But all right. Okay. So you guys watched yesterday. I don't know what you guys thought about what the defense started with, who they started with. The first guy was lost in his own world, in my opinion. Um, the second guy, he was, he's a blood type expert, whatever. Um, and then um, this guy that we watched, How did he even begin to help Betty at all? Did I miss something? Because the jury, when she got up, when the state got up, and then it finally clicked what she was going to do. Like, she's going to reenact this whole thing. They have set this up for her perfectly. She's going to reenact the whole thing, and she did. Like, and Betty looks sleepy, or just I wasn't going to call her sleepy yesterday, but it was like, I paid for this. Paid for this man. He did. He scared her. Everybody laughed. She laughed. I was like, I don't think he said sorry though. He should have. But it was a cute little moment. Her and the judge had a cute little giggle, and everybody else laughed about it too. So I have not even looked ahead. I have no idea what's going on. And he did. They were all kind of rubbing their bodies on the bloody sheets. It was so weird. I'm like, no gloves. They're arguing over the side of the mattress, the state and this witness with his freaking ruler. I'm like, dude, she's going to take that ruler out of your hands and just whack your knuckles with it as hard as she possibly can. I'm going to laugh, and you're going to deserve it. Because he's down there like trying to pinch them together. She's like, no, they're folded and tucked in. He's like, no. He even told the defense attorney, I don't know if you heard it, to leave stop messing with his sheet. I was like, don't touch the guy's sheet, okay? It's like, oh my goodness. But it was entertaining, nonetheless. You haven't quite finished your ironing? Good. I figured you were watching Valo. That's the only reason I was this late. Yes. Hello, Zach. How you doing? Missed that exit again. Dang it. Yes. Holy sheet. Nope. Would not do that. I mean, I would. Sometimes. It depends. Just depends. All right. So we've got about yes. Would have been hilarious, Zach, last night if I would have actually scratched my neck when you said that. I didn't. Darn it. But yes, I felt bad for people that thought I was just flat out ignoring them. Yeah. It's like, I won't do that again. We'll just won't have nothing. Nothing. All right, I got it set the way I did yesterday. We've got about an hour and a half. I'm going to let it run as much as I can so we can get through it. Again, I have no idea what the witnesses are for this part of the day. And so I will be seeing it for the first time with you. I know Puddletown, and I felt horrible. I felt so bad. I was like, oh. No hello till you know I'm real. Wow, rude. Go play some pickleball. I am real. Today is, what is today? June 10th. It is 7:09 my time, 6:09 your time, and it is 75 degrees outside and sunny. I was ignoring you with my fake daughter. I'll let her know. and next Monday I'll be ignoring you with my fake husband. No, don't do that, Splash Man. It's fine. It was not. It was me. It was me. It was not Carmen. It was me. Then I had to leave, so I left. All right, here we go. Let's see what next witness that we get.
Have another one before? I have two very short witnesses, Your Honor. Go ahead. Lisa.
Share with me, please. Raise your right hand for the purpose. Swear you in.
You guys always want the testimony about to give and about MANNEQUINS is much shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Could you please tell me to what you said?
Afternoon, officer. How are you?
Officer, could you please state your full name for the record and spell your last name?
Lisa Marie Cook, last name C-O-O-K.
What is your occupation?
I'm a police officer with the City of San Diego.
And how long have you been employed there?
Approximately 8 years.
And on November 5th, 1989, did you respond to a residence that you came to know as the Broderick residence in the Marsden Hill area?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and were you one of the first officers on the scene?
Yes, I was.
And did you have a partner?
Yes.
And who was your partner?
Dominic Vallely.
Okay, and when you arrived at the scene, was there anyone else present at that time?
Yes.
And do you remember who the person or people were?
Yes.
And who was that?
Brian Forbes and Bradley Wright.
Okay. And did you have a conversation with a Mr. Forbes?
Yes, I did.
And did he ask any questions or make any statements to you at that time?
Yes, he asked me to call for an ambulance.
I have no further questions, Your
Question.
No questions, Your Honor.
Witness be excused.
No objection.
Mr. Early? No objection.
No objection.
Thank you very much, officer.
Well, okay then.
I call Mr. Cruz.
Please. Raise your right hand for the purpose. Swear you in.
You guys always want the testimony about to give and about MANNEQUINS is much shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Could you please tell the city what you said?
Morning, Mr. Cruz.
Sir, could you please state your full name for the record and spell your last name?
Peter Hart Cruz Jr., C-R-U-Z.
Thank you.
Sir, what is your occupation?
I'm a police officer with the City of San Diego.
And on November, and how long have you been so employed?
Close to 8 years.
On November 5th, 1989, did you respond to a home that you come to know as the Broderick residence in the Marsden Hills area on Cypress?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and at the time that you were there, did you become aware of any dogs in or around the residence?
Yes, sir.
And how did you become aware of that?
Heard the dogs barking.
Okay, and what part? Where was that from? Remember what part of it? Front or the back of the residence?
Back of the area.
Okay. And did the dogs appear to be dogs that were attached to the residence?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what did you have done with the dogs?
My partner called the animal control officers.
Okay. Were they in some kind of kennel or something? Or I mean, they were made it so they couldn't run away. Is that correct? From the backyard?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Cross-examine.
No, Your Honor.
Witness be excused.
Yes, Your Honor.
No objection.
Thank you very much, officer.
Thanks.
Recess.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take our noon recess at this time. Please remember the admonition not to discuss the case among yourselves, nor allow anyone else to discuss it with you. Please form no opinion until it's finally submitted to you. See you at 1:30. Have a nice lunch.
Sir, could you please state your full name for the record and spell your last name?
PJ Hathaway, Hathaway.
Thank you.
Your first name is Paul,
Yes,
and do you have any nicknames?
PJ. Yeah.
Okay. How did you get that nickname?
It's a long story.
One that we probably don't want to hear right now.
Probably not.
Okay. Do you know this person who was at the end of the console table, Elizabeth Broderick?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And approximately, how did you get to know her?
I started dating her daughter Kim a few years ago, and one thing led to another, and she took me home one day, and I met her mom, and we just started becoming friends.
Okay. And when you say friends, you're talking about friends with her mother?
Yes.
Okay. And how long before, when she was arrested for the death of Dan Broderick?
Yes, I
November
did.
1989?
Uh-huh.
Would give us an approximation of how long you knew her before that date. Was it 2 years, 3 years, or the best you can do?
Best I can do is about 4, 5 years.
Okay.
4 or 5 years.
Okay. And she knew you as PJ?
Yes, she did.
Now, in 1987, 88, 89, do you have any hobbies, passions, things that you do?
I was surfing quite a bit at that time.
And where would you surf?
La Jolla Shores area, Windansea Beach. It's most of the La Jolla area.
Okay. And do you know where Mrs. Broderick lived in La Jolla?
Yes.
And during that time?
In the Shores area.
Okay. And is that somewhat close to where where you used to go surfing?
Yeah, it was right down the street.
Okay, how far would it be? Half a mile, quarter mile?
It was approximately 3 blocks, I believe, 3 or 4 blocks.
Okay, those,
About half mile, I guess, quarter mile.
they're long blocks. Those are long residential
Yeah,
blocks.
they're long blocks.
Okay. And and how often would you see Mrs. Broderick?
It really depended. Sometimes once a week, sometimes a couple or a few times a week.
Okay. Now, in 88 and 89, are there times when you're a surfer that is the best conditions to go, or most of the surfers like to get down there?
Morning time,
Okay. And when we're talking morning time, we're talking getting there before the sun comes up?
definitely dawn patrol, early, very early.
Okay. And and during that period of time, were you doing anything for any radio stations in regards to the dawn patrol?
Yes, I was doing surf reports for a couple of radio stations in town and a couple of companies up in Huntington Beach.
Okay. Did you ever see her, Mrs. Broderick, at the beach?
Yes, I did.
Would you see her walking?
Yes.
What time of the day would you see her?
This is early. It varied. Sometimes it's right around 6 o'clock. Could be.
Would you ever see her right at dawn when the sun was coming up walking? Okay. And would you ever see her sitting and drinking a cup of coffee?
Yes. I've seen her sitting.
How common would you say it was that you saw her down there early in the morning?
A few times a week, sometimes. Sometimes it just really depended on what time I got down there.
Was she by herself most of the time with other people?
She was by herself.
Okay. And during that time, was she someone you liked, disliked?
Oh yeah, I liked her a lot.
Okay.
Good friend.
Did you hear her at times? Was there times that you would hear her use inappropriate language?
At those times in the morning?
Would you hear her do it in the morning?
Not really. No, not to an extreme or anything.
Okay. Did you see her around her children, both her daughters and her children?
Yes.
Okay. And how frequent would those contacts be?
Well, sometimes I'd see her with the boys alone, and sometimes when I was with Kim, she would be with the boys and with Lee, and it just really depended. A couple times a week, sometimes more.
Most of the time when you would see her around the children, did it appear that her language was appropriate, nothing offensive?
It wasn't offensive around the children that I saw.
Okay. Would there be some times when she would get on the subject of her divorce or what was happening to her in court where her language would change?
Yes.
Okay. And would she appear to get angry about that?
Yes, she would.
Okay. And would she use profanity about that when she was talking about that subject?
Yes.
Would she ever talk about, in that time when she used profanity, would she ever say anything about, I ought to kill him, or?
Yes, she did.
Okay. Did you see her on November 4th? That would be a Saturday, November 4th, just before her arrest.
Yes, I did.
Okay, and you remember who she was with?
She was with the boys, Danny and Rhett.
Okay, now when you first saw her, did she appear to be upset?
No, she was very happy-go-lucky, very happy. Didn't seem upset at all.
Okay. Did the subject somehow change to the divorce of Mr. Broderick?
Yes, it did.
And how did her language change at all?
Yeah, her language definitely changed. She started using some profanity and of that sort.
Okay. Did she seem fairly angry that weekend? I mean, that time when she talked about it?
Yes, she got angry when we were talking.
Did Kim ever talk about the divorce between her mother and father?
Yeah.
Okay. Did she ever talk about her father using the system against her mother?
She said that her mom thought that her dad was using the system against her. That's what she said.
She never indicated to you that she thought her father... Mr. Hathaway, you testified last time, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
And after you testified last time, were you approached by Kim Broderick?
Objection, Your Honor. I believe they're friends.
Sustained.
Were you talking in regards to your testimony in the courtroom by Kim Broderick?
We talked a little bit about it,
And did she tell you that you were...
Objection, Your Honor, leading.
Sustained.
Your Honor, I would like to take this witness on, and I'll make an offer of proof of why then.
Do you have a transcript you want to impeach him with? I don't know where you're going, Mr. Rowe.
Yes, Your Honor, I have some statements, some signed statements I'd like to impeach him with.
Well, there's nothing to impeach yet, Your Honor.
I agree. Go ahead.
Did Kim Broderick...
Your Honor, I'm sorry, I'm objecting as to a leading question.
Sustained.
Okay.
Did Kim Broderick talk to you about your testimony?
Yeah, we had a discussion about it.
What did she say about your testimony?
Well, we talked about how nervous I was because I was very nervous, and basically just how hard it was to do, because it was hard being in a position where I was in, and that's what we talked about, just being in the middle.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness? I would like to show him.
Certainly. For the record, let the counsel know what you're showing.
Sir, you had an interview with an investigator, didn't you?
Yes.
He had you took some notes, had you go over them and initial them for accuracy?
Yes.
And then sign your name to them?
Yes.
You can read the first page of the notes.
Okay. I haven't spoken with the DA since the last trial.
No, just read them to yourself. Read the
Oh,
page
okay.
to yourself.
Court reporter just
Okay.
put her Sally Jesse glasses on, glassy.
Did, in the conversation, was there anything that she talked to you about how she about whether she was disappointed with your testimony or not?
She seemed to think that maybe I didn't say some things that I should have.
Well, didn't you say that she was upset? She thought you should be worse on her mother? That you were being too nice to her?
Yeah, she said that maybe I wasn't as strong as I should have been.
And were you trying to tell the truth when you were on the stand?
Of course.
Did she call you any names? Did she call you spineless?
Yeah, we were joking around. She called me spineless.
It's difficult for you to get here on the stand now with her in the courtroom, isn't it?
Not really.
Did you talk to, do you know a ex-boyfriend of hers named Tom?
I'm familiar with him, yes.
Objection, irrelevant.
That answer could stand. Overruled.
Did Kim have any conversations with you about Tom and something to do with your mother's house?
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained.
Your Honor, impeachment, Kim denied this. I'd like to go into it.
She denied she talked to this witness about Tom?
She denied she talked to anybody about Tom.
That's not true.
Oh, that's overruled. Sustained, sustained. Objection sustained.
Did you talk to Elizabeth Broderick about things that you were told about Tom?
Yeah, yes.
And what did you tell Elizabeth Broderick?
We talked about how Tom was bothering Kim, and Kim didn't like it, and we both agreed that we didn't think that he was a very positive influence on her. And
Well, did you tell her about something that you had learned about Tom in relationships to Elizabeth Broderick's house? And what he was watching and what he was thinking of doing?
I'd heard that, yeah, that
Objection, Your Honor, unless it was a conversation related to the defendant.
Although it's calling for hearsay, so it's sustained at this point.
Well, did you talk to Elizabeth Broderick about things about this man Tom in her house, where he was in relation, and anything about that?
Yes, we did.
Okay, and what did you tell her?
Well, I told her that I didn't think, can you repeat the question, please?
What did you tell Elizabeth Broderick in relationship to Tom? Did anything at all about Tom and Mrs. Broderick's house, where he was located, what he was doing in regards to her house? What he was watching, any threats that have been made?
Yes, there was talk about where Tom was watching the house that Elizabeth Broderick was living in, and when I was there with Kim, or my car was parked in front of her house, he could see that the car was parked there and he didn't like it very much. So he would call her up and tell her that, either leaving messages on her machine or talking to Kim directly.
When you saw Kim, where was it that you usually saw her?
At her mom's house.
And did you see the boys around her mother?
Yes.
And how did they appear to be around her?
They appeared to be very happy around her. It was obvious that they really enjoyed spending time with her.
All right, Sticky, I'll let you be that guy once. It's fine. This is Betty Broderick trial. It's from 1991. This is her retrial, her first trial. Ended in a hung jury, not on her guilt or innocence, but on her level of guilt. She is accused of unaliving her ex-husband, and his new wife of 6 months in their home when she broke in and used a weapon to take them out while they were sleeping. So when they pan back from this guy on the stand, you'll see two mannequins laying in a bed. It's really crazy. And that is from prior testimony about, I don't even know why the defense put on this testimony about where and how, like, the blood spatter and all this stuff ended up on the bed. Like, it didn't help them. But the mannequins are in the bed. They have dowel rods through them to show how the rounds went through and why the blood is where it is. What's up, Brandon? But this is the first trial that I ever watched on Court TV. It's the second trial that they ever aired. The first trial they aired was Pamela Smart, also another great woman who convinced two of her students to unalive her husband. For whatever reason, I don't know. A bloody bed and two dummies. What are you saying, Sir Frank? I can't say. I'm not saying that. Just, nothing's wrong with it. It's just funny. And it's funny because I'm hearing it in Gabby's voice too. Pam Smart was denied parole, or Betty, because I would come closer to letting Pam Smart out before I did Betty. Let Betty out. I think Betty's just a fine. Oh, she's a complete and total cuckoo clock. Got it. That's not what Gabby said. So I just figured, I was thinking, for some reason, I'm like, is this one of her kids? It is not one of her kids, because I was thinking it would be, he would be too old. This sounds like one of Kim's boyfriends or ex-boyfriends. So, not that there's no spoiler alerts here because there's just not, but she was just denied parole too. Uh, so she's in prison where she belongs, and she's still claiming her innocence. Oh, Betty, you tricky little lady. All right, back to Biff. I think his nickname is PJ. He didn't want to be called that either.
And how does Kim react now that you still like Betty, is that correct?
Yes, I do.
And how does Kim react to that?
Well, she understands that I like her mom, and
And we all know,
So would
we
it
all
help
read
you
that
if you
frappe.
Reviewed the statement that you gave.
Gabby
us
read
about
it, frappe.
is that right?
please, yeah.
And if I could show you the last page, right above your signature.
Ashman, what are you doing? Don't be timing people out for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is her attitude about your like for her mother?
Sometimes she gets upset about it.
I have no further questions.
Cross down.
Mr. Hathaway, when Kim talked to you after your testimony last time, and you indicated that she said something to you about not being as strong as you had in the past, it is true that you had said things in the past about Elizabeth Broderick that were quite a bit stronger than what she said on the stand, isn't it?
Yes.
And Kim indicated to you, and you talked about it, that you felt very nervous being on the stand and you felt intimidated being on the stand, correct?
Yeah.
And it was scary and nervous being on the stand and saying things with the defendant, Elizabeth Broderick, sitting right there looking at you, correct?
Yes.
Did Kim get angry at you or upset because you had said something that she didn't like or you had lied on the stand?
Oh no, we were kidding around.
Did she say she wasn't going to be your friend anymore because you had said on the stand that you liked her mother?
No, definitely not.
Did she suggest to you that you in any way change your testimony or say anything when you're on the stand this time?
No, she hasn't.
The fact is, for example, when you had described seeing Elizabeth Broderick on November the 4th, the day before, when you were asked what her demeanor was like when you testified last time, you said she was a little upset.
Yes, she was upset.
Your words were she was a little upset. Actually, when you had been interviewed before, you had told an investigator that she was extremely angry. And that was an example of how you didn't quite say something as strong as you had previously said, right?
Yes,
Okay. Because you felt a little uncomfortable about it, right?
definitely.
Your Honor, I'm going to object. There's, in this testimony, he talks about real anger.
After I cross-examined him, Your Honor.
Yeah, overruled. Answer stands. Go ahead.
And in fact, with the fact that Kim is here today, you had asked him to come and be here with you when you testified, hadn't you?
Yes, I did.
Now, when you saw Elizabeth Broderick on November the 4th, again, when you testified under direct, you said that she was a little bit angry.
Yes.
Isn't it true that she was extremely angry that day?
When she first arrived, she wasn't angry. She was very happy and very, everything was going great. And then she got very angry as the conversation went on.
So she started to talk to you, when she saw you there at the beach, she started to talk to you, and as usual, she started talking about Dan Broderick, right?
Right.
That was a subject that came up often whenever you had a conversation with Mrs. Broderick, correct?
Correct.
And whenever that subject came up, she would start to get angry, correct?
Well, I guess if anybody's the liar in this group, it's me. They took the mannequins away. Sorry. If you go back to the very beginning of, or not the very, very beginning of this video, but when I when I first put the court TV up on the screen, I didn't realize where I had it paused at. And you'll see the mannequins there. But sorry, I don't know where they are. They're not. I don't even see them in the courtroom. Whatever. Took everything away. Well, Not nice. And hello, Holly.
Correct.
Approximately what time of day was it on November the 4th when you saw her?
Approximately around noontime, around lunchtime.
And you were kind of up on a bluff at the beach,
Yes.
and you were standing with somebody else at the time, another man who was taking photographs?
Yes, a photographer.
And you remember indicating that Elizabeth Broderick was getting so angry and the way in which she was talking, you were embarrassed about it because of this other person who was standing right there.
Yes.
And in fact, she said to you things that day, such as, and this is a quote, "That son of a bitch, he makes me so mad I could." That's what she said to you that day, isn't it?
Yes, she said that.
And she also said to you, she continued to talk about him, and she said, again a quote, "That asshole, I just want to kill him." She said that to you that day, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
And the next day she killed him, right?
Yes.
You also indicated that on that day, Saturday, November the 4th, that she was more angry than you had ever seen her, correct?
She was very angry.
And with respect to the use of inappropriate language in front of the boys, again, you indicated that occasionally you heard that. Isn't it true that you heard that frequently?
In front of the boys?
Yes.
It depended on the situation. When she started talking about Dan, Mr. Broderick, she would refer to him as some with profanity. So in that sense, yes.
Okay. And you also heard her threaten to kill him frequently in front of the boys.
Yes.
And she was making statements on November the 4th. This was not an off-the-cuff remark, right?
Thank you for the would like to thank Brandon Lesko for that super chat. She's not going to know what that last thing is, but I will read it. Gabby, Yo Mama is the only extra nickname, the Four-Cock Wonder. Ping pong balls are just the appetizer. The Baldo is dessert. She's not going to know what that is. And I'm not explaining it. Hey, what's up, Daddy Short Nuts? That's a weird thing to say after reading Brandon's super chat. She has Google. Night, Haley. Have a good one. It was good to see you. Yeah. Go ahead, Google that. Gabby, or don't. It's okay. Yeah, she's really not gonna care. You can call her mom a lot of things. You can call her everything. Don't call her to dinner though. That one's not gonna hurt her. Yes, trust me on that one, Gabby. You are good. Dang it. All right. I'm gonna hit play again. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully this won't get worse.
Right.
You remember indicating, in fact, that when she left, your feeling to yourself was that was one pissed off lady?
Yes.
And when she was talking to you there too, you didn't have any problems understanding what she was saying. She was making sense. She was coherent, understandable.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you indicated that you've had the opportunity to see Kim around her mother, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I think you previously indicated that you felt she had a reasonably, from what you could see, a reasonably normal relationship with her mother.
Yes.
Although they did fight, right?
Yes, they did fight, but it was a normal mother-daughter relationship.
You didn't think that it was anything out of the ordinary?
No, definitely not.
You also saw Kim around her father when you were over at Mr. Broderick's house, right?
Yes.
And you've also indicated it was very clear to you that Kim loved her father
Yes.
and had a very good relationship with her father.
Yes, they had a really good relationship.
She felt that he was basically a normal dad, had normal rules,
Mm-hmm.
and she never expressed any fear to you of her father in any way.
No.
In fact, if she expressed fear, you've indicated that she was more afraid of her mother, that was obvious that she was afraid of her mother.
Yes.
Now, you said that you've seen the boys around their mother. You've also seen the boys around their father, Mr. Broderick, correct?
Yes.
And from what you observed, how did the boys interact with their father?
They interacted great. They really had. They seemed to get along with their dad really well, and they liked hanging out with their father, and they did a lot of things together. They seemed to enjoy their time together.
And you've indicated it was clear to you that their father clearly loved them.
Yes.
You indicated that you thought that Kim had, from what you saw, a reasonable relationship with her mother. You have seen her mother get very angry on occasion and do things such as trash a drum set and throw a guitar. And
Yes.
and that was when Kim was having a party at her house?
Yes, it was.
Had her mother given her permission to have that party?
Yes.
And what happened?
Well, we had consent to have the party, and we had the party, and everybody was having a really fun time. And then all of a sudden, Mrs. Broderick wanted the party to stop.
And what did she do?
She went down in the pool room and was telling the band to stop, and she grabbed a guitar and pushed over a drum set.
Was there an apparent reason for that?
Not really. None that I could see.
This was obviously a weekend at a time when Mrs. Broderick was there at the house, when the party was going on.
Yes.
Lauren, did you just call me AI crap? I was just getting ready to say hi to you. Wow. I wasn't AI yesterday either. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's funny. Yes, Bueller. It's okay. I felt bad. You thought I was ignoring you, little one. I would not do that. See ya, Annabelle. Have a good night. Yes, that Ben Stein. You were scared. Don't be scared. I I won't do it again. I'm not ignoring you, Flashman. I'm not ignoring anyone. Just trying to get through these witnesses that are weird for the defense to be calling. It's like one whole big state case. Maybe that's why I didn't hear the prosecution rest.
Now, you indicated that you had had some discussions with Mrs. Broderick about one of Kim's boyfriends named Tom, right?
Yes.
And it is true, is it not, that Mrs. Broderick never expressed any physical fear of Tom to you?
No, she never. On herself?
Yes.
No, never.
She didn't like the idea that her daughter was going out with Tom. She didn't like Tom, right?
Right. That was obvious.
But she never talked about herself being physically afraid. She never talked about the fact, for example, that she felt she needed a gun to protect herself from Tom, did she?
No, she never did.
And your conversations with her and these calls from Tom, they happened when Kim came back from school. She'd been gone to school in Tucson and she came back. Is that correct?
Yes.
She gets at the end of the year. She gets out of school in May.
Your Honor, maybe if we could have some rules. I asked and was objected to at this conversation with King. Now we have the district attorney.
Just object, Mr. Early. Please, are you objecting?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sustained.
My question was, when did Kim get back from school from Arizona? She got back in May. That's when school got out in Arizona, correct?
Yes, in May.
And do you recall that the problems with Tom or the calls from Tom came after Kim had gotten back from school, right?
Yes.
In fact, there was maybe even a grace period there of a couple of weeks to a month before that problem occurred?
Yeah, as soon as he found out she was back, he would start calling. He would call, but it would usually take him a while to figure out that she was back.
I have no further questions.
For the record. Sir, the party that you related to, remember the police showing up a couple of times? Where the band was there, asking to shut the party down?
I don't recall the police showing up that night, no.
You don't recall any problems whatsoever with them?
No, the party seemed like it was going pretty smoothly.
And what time was it that that this happened?
The incident?
Yes.
Approximately, well, the party was in full swing, so it must have been around 10:30.
And just at 10:30, it was a nice quiet party, and Mrs. Broderick went nuts on the drums and guitars.
Was it a quiet party?
No, it was just a nice, friendly party. Everyone was having a good time. Nothing was going wrong. And at 10:30, she just went crazy.
It wasn't a nice, quiet party. It was a party, as parties go, and it wasn't quiet because there was a band, but everybody seemed to be having a really good time.
And you indicated that Kim and her father had a good relationship. Do you remember talking at all about Kim would have to sneak around her father to do things?
Yes.
Did you ever talk about how problems she had with Linda in the house?
What kind of problems?
Did she ever talk to you about the problems or dislike for Linda?
She liked Linda. She liked her a lot.
The time that you were at the beach, and this is on November 4th, do you remember Mrs. Broderick taking some photographs?
Yes, I do. She had a camera with her and she was taking photos.
And when she was upset at that time, did she tell you something that Kim had told her about college and money?
She said that Kim had called her and said that she was at college and she was upset because she didn't have any money. That's what she told me.
The things that you testified to as to the conversations you had on Saturday, you testified to all those last time, last trial.
Yes.
I have no further questions. Reed Ross?
You only testified about them after I asked you on cross-examination, isn't that true? Remember?
Okay.
Your Honor, I have an objection. It's irrelevant.
Sustained.
The comment that she made about Kim not having any money in college, her response to that was, what am I supposed to do? Send her my money? That son of a bitch? He makes me so mad I could fight him, right?
Yes.
And with respect to Kim, sometimes going around her dad's rules, her dad had a curfew, she was supposed to be in at curfew, right?
Yes.
And sometimes she would sneak around that.
Yeah. Yes.
I have nothing further.
Anything further, Mr. Early? Witness be excused? Ms. Wells?
Subject to-
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Henry. Our next witness?
Call the next defense witness.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give, and the matter not coming before the court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Sir, could you please have a seat with us?
And roll itself out the courtroom.
Afternoon, sir. How are you?
And off a cliff.
And sir, could you please state your full name for the record and spell your last name?
Michael Colin Campbell, Campbell.
Thank you, sir.
And what is your occupation?
I'm a photographer.
And
Would not have guessed.
How long have you been doing that?
I've had a studio in San Diego for approximately 5 years, and I've been in photography since 1964.
Did you have an opportunity to meet an Elizabeth Broderick?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And approximately when was that?
That was about 1987. I was photographing some function, and Mrs. Broderick was one of the guests.
Did you get to know Mrs. Broderick?
She had an interest in photography, and we discussed cameras, I think, a little at that point, and a couple of other occasions after that, under similar circumstances.
Okay. And did, at some point in time, did you get commissioned to take some wedding photos at the Dan and Linda Broderick's wedding?
Yes, I did.
Did Mrs. Broderick ever see those photographs?
No, she did not.
Did she ever ask to see them or try to see them?
No, she didn't.
I have no further questions.
Vice Sam?
Good afternoon, Mr. Campbell.
Good afternoon.
You were not originally from here, right? You're from
You can tell from the Texas accent.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was a time when Elizabeth Broderick came over to your studio with respect to the idea of perhaps working for you. Is that correct?
Well, not exactly, but she was interested in photography and had an idea of possibly starting her own business and wanted to talk to me about that.
And she wanted to perhaps finance you in a photography studio in La Jolla.
She thought we might be able to share a space together. We would do 2 different types of photographic services.
When was the first time that she came over to your studio?
I really don't remember the exact date, but it was, I suppose, end of 1988. I was in Sorrento Valley at the time, so it must have been around 88.
It was sometime after you had taken the photographs of Ann and Linda's wedding, right?
Yes, but I'd talked to her about this before that.
But the first time she came to your studio was after you had taken the photograph of their wedding, right?
I believe so.
When she was at the studio, you had some conversations about the fact that she was the ex-Mrs. Broderick, and you had photographed Mr. Broderick's wedding and Linda Broderick's wedding, right?
Yeah, she was the one that informed me that he was her ex-husband. I hadn't realized that at the time.
So she was the one, when she talked to you at the studio, she was aware of the fact that you had been a photographer of their wedding.
Yes, she'd seen photographs of me that her neighbor had taken at the wedding, and that's how she knew.
And when you had conversations with her during that time, the subject of driving her car through Mr. Broderick's door came up, and she denied doing that, right?
Yes, she did.
You indicated that you had heard about that, you asked her if that's true, and she specifically said, no, that's not true, it didn't happen. Dan and Linda are making that up so that they can get custody of the kids, something to that effect.
Basically, that was what you're saying.
And since that time, since these events, you've learned that that was not true, that in fact she did drive the car through the door. And you've indicated that you realize now that she's capable of looking you square in the eye and lying and making it totally believable.
I believed her at the time.
Objection. That's irrelevant.
Overruled. You can answer that. That's what opinion lay witness can give.
What, I'm sorry, what was your answer? I didn't, you started.
I believed her at the time.
Did she ever follow through with actually financing you, or the 2 of you, with this photography studio?
She suggested some possible locations that, because the studio I was in was not very satisfactory. And so she had looked around in La Jolla and suggested a few places. I took a look at them, but none of them really would have worked out for me, so we didn't pursue it any further from that point of view.
You had a few conversations with her over the summer of 1989, leading.
Objection.
Sustained.
Okay. Do you recall her having a conversation with you about Dan Broderick, about the reasons why she had married him or what he was like when she married
Your
him?
Honor, objection. It's beyond the scope.
Sustained.
Do you recall when she came over to your studio and the times that you had conversations with her, her attitude about money? How did she talk about it?
Your Honor, objection. It's beyond the scope.
Sustained.
She also denied to you ever making any threats to kill Danilyn Broderick, right?
Yes, she did.
And you don't know whether or not she told other people that she had seen the proofs of Danilyn's wedding.
Only from Linda.
I have no further questions
Redirect.
at this time.
Yes, when you were, the conversations you were having with, the purpose, you indicated that the meeting at your office in Sereno Valley was arranged before you photographed the wedding, is that correct?
Yes, we had the conversations for quite a long period of time.
Okay. And you had conversations about going in business together?
Well, it varied. We never really pinned it down very
Okay.
precisely.
But I just want to mean general conversations.
Yes.
And at the time that, when the conversation the district attorney brought up about things that she had done, those were things that you had heard from Linda, is that correct?
Yes, I got two completely different views of the same situation.
Did Elizabeth Broderick, did she appear happy those statements, embarrassed that those statements were made?
She seemed almost amused, as if, that's just one more of his little ploys.
Okay. And the purpose of her being there was to discuss whether there could be some future business arrangement?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Recross.
None, Your Honor.
Witness be excused.
Subject to recall.
Thank you, sir.
Maria Montez?
Your Honor, may we approach the bench while she's going to be...
Certainly. Want it on the record?
Yes, please.
All right.
I have three witnesses. I didn't know if we wanted to take a recess.
It's a young Feinstein, Sticky,
Whatever the court wants to do.
as he was
Jurors,
in Ferris
he's got
Bueller.
three witnesses left. You want to take a recess or keep them on hold?
Keep going.
Keep going. Cool.
Sorry about that.
Probably keep going.
Ms. Montez, you're still under oath from the last time you testified, okay?
Yeah.
All right, and the record should reflect that Ms. Montez is being assisted by the same court-certified interpreter that was used last time. Go ahead, Mr. Earl.
All right, you guys have better memories than me. When did we see her? It had to be for the state. Where you going, Puddletown? You're not out of here. You can't leave. I did not give you permission. I have three witnesses, one man. Can I expect a call? In a past life, you don't remember this woman. I don't. She had to be a state witness because she'd been on the stand and she hasn't been on the stand for the defense. Who was she? Come back as AI? Oh, no. Never again. You saw her in Hawaii? She sold you. She did not sell you a crap souvenir knockoff at 7. You're on a Walmart. Ugh. Well, enjoy. Be safe. Be careful. Lots of things. All the things. Whoops. Flash fan. Hawaii Walmart. Got it. So yes, the feathered hairdos are bad. But My husband would disagree that he loved 80s hair. He liked my 80s hair, I'll say that. But not the helmet, glued down, never moved hair. Gabby. You're not going to Walmart. It was a Y Walmart. I got it. All right, let's. Pat Benatar. Pat Benatar was a pretty lady. I don't know what she looks like these days. Also, I think does the court reporter, she has her little jack-o'-lantern earrings on, not ears. Does she have bats on her socks? Because I was trying to, I couldn't tell, but it looks like she has bats on her socks that don't really match the rest of her purple, but who cares? Maybe it did back then.
Montez, you remember in the spring of 1989, in spring of 1989, were you working at Mrs. Broderick's home?
Sí. Yes?
Okay. And do you remember a time that she was working at a daycare center, a nursery center?
Sí. Yes.
And would you go over to her house and when she was at work, would you go over and do work at her house?
Sí. Yes.
And sometime when you were over there, do you remember a day that a woman came into the house while you were working there?
Sí. Yes.
Okay. And do you remember seeing a picture of Linda Kolkena, Mr. Broderick's new wife?
Sí, yo la miré en un papel, en una foto, pero cuando ella entró yo no la pude reconocer porque en la foto tenía una sonrisa muy grande y después cuando ella entró no tenía la misma sonrisa.
Yes,
Excuse me,
Well, sustained. Can you answer that question, yes or no?
¿Cómo es la pregunta que...?
Did you see a
What was the
picture?
question?
Did you see a picture of Linda Kolkena Broderick? Yes or no?
Sí.
Yes.
Go ahead,
Okay.
Mr. Earl.
And the did you recognize the person who came over to Mrs. Broderick's house that day?
En el primer momento no.
Not at first.
Okay. Did you at some time realize that it was that Linda Kolkena?
Hasta cuando la señora llegó y me mostró otra foto.
Not until Mrs. Broderick arrived and showed me another photograph.
Okay. And when she showed you the photograph, it was the person who had been over the house. Was that person?
Sí.
Yes.
Did the person have permission to come in the home?
No.
No.
Okay. Were you home when she came in?
No.
No.
Cuando yo entré, ella ya estaba dentro y andaba en la recámara de la señora.
When I went in, she was already inside and she was in Mrs. Broderick's bedroom.
Okay. And did she tell you who she was?
Ella me dijo, cuando yo oí ruido, yo pregunté, ¿aló, hay alguien en la casa? Entonces ella me contestó, soy yo, soy una amiga de Betty que vine a ver la casa.
She told me, when I heard noises, I said, hello, is anybody in the house? And then she said, it's me, I'm a friend of Betty's, I came to see the house.
Okay. Did she take anything with her?
¿Ella se llevó algo consigo?
Sí,
Yes.
Okay. And what did she take with her?
unos papeles, entró al cuarto donde la señora tenía las cajas de los papeles que ella tenía y de ahí sacó de una caja, pero yo no supe qué se llevó.
Some papers, she went into the room where Mrs. Broderick had some boxes with documents, and from there she took something out, but I don't know what it was that she took.
Okay, but she left with those papers.
Pero se fue con esos papeles.
Sí,
Yes.
Did she ever come back?
¿Alguna vez regresó?
sí, después más tarde regresó.
Yes. Later on, afterwards, she came back.
How long after she was
¿Qué
gone
tanto
was it?
después de que ella se había ido regresó?
Pues después de mediodía no recuerdo la hora cuando...
After midday, I don't remember
Pero-
what time.
Fueron unos minutos antes de que la señora llegara a casa,
But it
que Betty llegara a
was
casa.
some minutes before Mrs. Broderick, before Betty arrived home.
Can you give me an estimate? And I understand this is only your best guess of how long from the time she left the first time and came back the second time, how long that was.
Más o menos unas entre 4 y 5 horas.
More or less between 4 and 5 hours.
Now, sometime in June of 1987, did you learn that, did you become aware that Miss Broderick had gone to court one day and got placed in custody?
Sí, porque ella me dijo,
Yes,
yo
because
vivía
she
en la
told
casa
me.
y ella me dijo, sabes María que yo voy a corte hoy este día y posible me detengan, no voy a venir a dormir para que no tú
Yes,
cierres la puerta.
because she told me, she said, you know what, Maria, I'm going to court today, and they might detain me, so I might not be home, I might not come home to sleep, so that you can know and lock the door.
Okay. Now, at that point in time, was Kim allowed to be in the house when Betty wasn't there?
Bueno, yo nunca supe que ella le negara la entrada, pero ese día ella llegó a las 12 de la noche a tocarme.
Well, I never knew that she didn't allow her in, but that day she arrived at 12 midnight to knock.
Okay. And what did she tell you when she arrived?
¿Y qué es lo que le dijo cuando llegó?
Que su mamá le había dado permiso de quedarse a dormir y que si por favor le abría la puerta.
That her mom had given her permission to stay and sleep over, that if I would please open the door.
Okay. And did you let her in?
¿Y usted la dejó entrar?
Sí,
Yes.
And what happened after you let her
¿Y
in?
qué pasó después de que usted la dejó entrar?
cuando yo le abría la puerta ella pasó, pero se fue a la otra puerta del otro lado de la casa, abrió la puerta y entraron muchos amigos, muchachas y muchachos de ella. Tenían un party, estaban tomando, pues un party ahí en la casa.
As I opened the door, she walked past me and she went to the other door and she opened the door and a lot of her friends came in and they were there and they were drinking and smoking and they were having a party. A lot of them were there.
Okay. And did you finally have to do something about that?
¿Y usted finalmente tuvo que hacer algo al respecto?
Sí, yo fui, hablé con Kim, me puse una bata y fui, le hablé, le dije, Kim, le dije, tú sabes que tu mamá no está y yo no tengo permiso para dejarte hacer un party así.
Yeah.
¿Puedes hacer el favor de salirte?
Yes, I went over and I spoke to Kim. I put on a robe, and a bathrobe, and I went and I told her, Kim, you know that I don't have any permission to let you be here when your mother is not here and have a party. And could you please do me the favor of not having the party?
Que limpiara y se fuera, si no yo le iba a llamar a su papá.
And for her to clean up and leave, or else I would call her father.
Yeah. Did they eventually leave?
Y eventualmente se fue.
Sí, finalmente limpiaron, se fueron, pero cuando se fueron me gritaban cosas, los
Yes.
amigos, porque los había echado yo de la casa.
Yes, they finally cleaned up and they left, but as they were leaving, they were yelling things at me because I had thrown them out of the house.
I have no further questions.
Close it down.
Ms. Montez, how many friends are you referring to?
¿Cuántos amigos y amigas se refiere usted?
No, más de 6, 10,
More
no
than-
recuerdo cuántos, pero
More than 6, 10? I don't
no recuerdo cuántos.
remember how
eran.
many. I don't remember how many of them there were.
Somewhere between 6 and 10?
Entre 6 y
10
10
amigos,
and 10
mujeres
friends,
y hombres.
women and men.
And you don't know what Kim had been doing earlier in the evening, or whether she'd been upset earlier in the
Y usted
evening,
no sabe
correct?
qué era lo que Kim había estado haciendo anteriormente esa noche, si había alterado o
Yo no la había mirado ese día,
no.
hasta cuando llegó y me tocó la puerta.
I hadn't seen her that day until she arrived and knocked on the door.
And you don't know whether those friends were with her to try and cheer her up because she wasn't so.
Estaban ahí para tratar de alegrarla porque ella estaba alterada.
Yo no supe nada porque yo con ella muy poco hablaba, solamente habló cuando llegaba y bye, porque con ella nunca platicaba, entonces solamente entró, Y después cuando yo hablé que se fuera, pues todo.
I never knew because I wouldn't speak to her very much, just hello when she would arrive and goodbye. So I didn't know, I didn't talk to her very much.
And when you asked her to have the party leave, she did follow your direction and had the party leave, correct?
Sí, sí.
And yes, afterwards.
And it wasn't Kim who was yelling anything at you, was it?
No, los amigos me gritaban.
No,
Yo estaba ya
friends yelled at
acostada.
me. I was already in bed.
Yo oí los gritos que de afuera me gritaban, oh, María.
But I heard them
No
yelling
supe
at
quién,
me
yo no supe quién.
from the outside, oh, Maria, this and that, but I didn't know who. I didn't find out who.
You indicated when you came home that one day and you found a young woman in your house. Do you know how it was she got in the house? Had the house been unlocked?
Es que estaba la otra puerta del lado de la alberca, siempre estaba abierta. Y por ahí ella había entrado porque no supe yo por dónde entró. Yo no supe por dónde entró porque yo puse según traía yo la llave, abrí, me entré, pero oí yo ruidos, fue cuando yo le dije.
Through the other door, the door that was close to the swimming pool, that's the one, I guess that's when she came in. I don't know how she came in because I got there, I opened up with the key, I came in, I heard noises, I don't know how she got in.
I have no further questions.
Redirect? Witness be excused.
No objection.
Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Oh, Patty Monahan.
Final man, you're still under oath from last time. Afternoon.
And did you talked about the fact that Mrs. Broderick talked to you about her divorce. Did the conversation of your divorce ever come up during that time?
Yes, it did.
Okay. And did you talk to her about a memo from that your husband was a good friend of her husband, is that
Yes.
correct? They were basically best friends
Yes.
for a long time? Did you talk to her about a memo that your husband had that had to do with taking assets when you left for divorce?
Taking assets?
Taking things, when you were going to be divorced from somebody, taking things. What you could take and what you couldn't.
No, I don't believe that's what it was.
Well, did you talk to her, was there a memo that your husband, or a piece of paper that he had, or a booklet that had to do with things to do when you're getting a divorce?
You're not going to object to the element.
Well, I think what you're trying to say is that you ever show anything of that nature to, or discuss anything of that nature with your client, is that correct?
Yes.
Why don't you ask it that way?
Okay.
But
Your Honor, if this witness denies it, I'm going to impeach her.
Well, if you want to explain that to me, ask her and see what happens.
Did you talk to Elizabeth Broderick about a memo that involved taking, before you got divorced, how you can take assets and transfer them anywhere?
No.
Did you talk to her about the fact that when you get that there was a memo in existence about what to do with your family home and what to do with your children?
No.
Okay. Did you talk to her about any memo or piece of paper that you found that upset you that your husband had?
Yes.
Okay. And did you tell her what you did with that memo?
Yes, I did.
And what did you tell her that you did with the memo?
I gave it to my attorney,
Okay, and your attorney was who?
Tom Ashworth.
Okay. And at some point in time, did you find that that memo was gone, no longer in your file? Did you look
Yes.
for that memo?
Yes,
And it was missing from the file?
as far as I know.
Did you tell her that that memo would upset you?
Yes,
Did she ask you to try to get a copy of it?
no,
I have no further questions.
Cross-examine?
Mrs. Monahan, what is this alleged memo the council's talking about?
the only memo I can recall that upset me to any degree was a list of personal possessions to take when a man is leaving his home and not intending to come back. I can't even remember what was on the list, but they were personal possessions, things that belonged to him prior to our marriage, and also certain legal papers.
Now, this was something that happened when you were going through a divorce with your husband, correct?
Yes,
You had been married to your husband for how long?
23 years.
And what was it that upset you about this list?
The reason I was upset was mainly because I realized that he wasn't coming back. This wasn't a trial separation. This was what a man would do if he wasn't planning on coming back.
So you realized that he was serious about separating and divorcing?
Divorce, yes.
So there wasn't anything about this list or memo that suggested ways to cheat your husband or cheat your wife if you're leaving in a divorce, was there?
Absolutely not.
And there was nothing that made you upset about this list, thinking that this is something that my husband's going to cheat me with, right?
No.
It was simply the fact that you recognized that your husband was serious about going through with a divorce.
Exactly.
And you never suggested to Elizabeth Broderick that there was some list or memo on how to cheat your wife in a divorce, did you?
Absolutely not.
Did you ever feel that your husband, David Monahan, cheated you in your divorce?
Absolutely not.
So if she is suggesting that there was some list about how to cheat your wife and it came from you, that's a fabrication on her part, right?
Yes, it is.
I have nothing further.
You ready? Ma'am, even though this was just a list, as you say, that just meant to you that he was going to leave you forever, you thought it was important enough to give to your lawyer.
I told my lawyer about it, and he said he'd like to see it.
Okay. And you talked with the lawyer at that time, didn't you, about rumors about people from
Objection, Your
Gray
Honor.
Carey?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Your Honor, it goes to impeachment if she
Well,
was
it's
talking.
privileged material is what she told her attorney, having to do with the divorce. I haven't heard any waiver or any conversations you had with her attorney.
Did you talk to other people at that time about rumors going?
Objection, irrelevant. What other people she might have talked to? Yeah.
Sustained.
Did you ever talk about the subject that people at Gray Carey were?
Objection, irrelevant. Whether she ever talked about
Well,
If I can,
let her finish the question. You compared it to talking to your client, it's going to be relevant. If not, we'll see. Go ahead.
did you talk to anybody about the fact that there was some kind of conspiracy at Great Carey, the wives believe, among the attorneys there to do things with their money when they divorced their wives?
Would you say that again, please?
Did you talk to anybody that there was a feeling among wives at Great Carey that funny things were happening when lawyers there were leaving their wives?
No.
Was your house for sale at the time of your divorce?
objection,
Well,
irrelevant.
Sustained.
Did you say anything to Elizabeth Broderick about your house being for sale at the time of the divorce?
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained without an offer of proof, Mr. Willie. Whether another house was for sale, I must see the connection.
Well, I'll give the court an offer of proof.
Why not?
In regards to the memo, did you talk to Elizabeth Broderick about your children and where they were living when the split up happened?
I don't understand the question.
Okay. Did you talk to Elizabeth Broderick about being upset about your children being sent away during the time of your split up?
Your Honor, I object to the relevance of what this witness might have been upset about during her own divorce.
Sustained.
Did you talk about that in regards to the memo at all?
I don't understand your question.
Okay.
I don't either, Mr. President. The memo she said had to do with personal belongings you take with you. That's what I recall the answer.
Yes, Your Honor. May we approach the bench again, Your Honor, make another offer?
All right, sure.
When you talked about the memo, did that have anything to do when you were talking about the memo with children?
With my children?
Yes.
No.
The time that you were talking to Elizabeth Broderick about what your characterization of the memo is, did the subject of children come up?
Your Honor, objection, testimony.
Sustained.
I'm just asking her in the same conversation whether it came up.
Well, it's also sustained as irrelevant whether the conversation children came up.
I have no further questions.
Cross down.
No, Your Honor.
Witness be excused. Thank you very much, Ms. Monahan.
Run like your swirly hair will let
Afternoon,
you.
Mr. Forbes, you're still under oath from last time,
Your
okay?
swirly hair will let you. Oh, we saw him.
Mr.
He was the
Forbes,
very first witness. for this
Did,
case.
have you in the past gotten together with a group of, this is between the last trial and this trial, a group of friends of Dan Broderick and family to discuss the upcoming trial?
No, I've not.
Okay. Do you know of any existence of any group of people that have discussed the trial and strategies?
Not on a formal basis. I know it's a subject of discussion among lots of people in the community.
Have you discussed with other people the fact that the way to get on the stand is to make sure that you ramble on about material that you know is not supposed to get to a jury or is illegal material, so the defense has to object?
No.
Have you ever seen any information about that, where there's a group that's asked to do that?
Has to do what?
To suggest that there should be some kind of
Objection, Your Honor, irrelevant.
Well, sustained at this point. I don't see where you're going.
I'm showing motive or bias, Your Honor, if there is such a
Of
group.
this,
Of this witness?
This witness.
We said he's denied any knowledge of any such group or taking part in any such group.
You've never heard or seen anything that talked about the best ways to get things in front of a less than middle class jurors?
Oh, objection.
No, the answer is no.
Sustained. The answer is stricken. Sustained.
And there's been no discussions among anybody about how to get evidence before a jury.
There have been no discussions that I'm aware of. I never took part in any such discussions.
Your Honor, can we approach sidebar?
Certainly.
Sir, if you could look at what has been marked as defendant's Exhibit W.
For the record, Exhibit W is a 5-page letter dated
June 21st, 1991. The number of,
That's good enough. Go ahead.
can you look at that letter and see if that's something that you've seen before, been copied before?
Can I read it?
Yes, go ahead, look at it.
And the question is, have I seen this before?
Yes.
I believe I have.
And did you discuss the contents of the letter before?
No, I have not.
Okay. I don't have any further questions at this time.
Cross-examined.
Mr. Forbes, do you feel that your testimony in this trial in some way rambled on and on in order to get irrelevant material in front of this jury?
No.
I take it you weren't particularly thrilled to be the person who had to discover two friends dead in the bedroom, were you?
No,
Well,
I have an objection, it's argumentative.
it's overruled. Answer stands.
did you volunteer to find them and so that you could come in here and testify?
Your Honor, objection, that has nothing to do with it. That's irrelevant to the question.
Sustained.
She's getting snarky. Just done.
Wouldn't be excused? As well? No objection?
Subject to recall.
Thank you very much, Mr. Forbes.
Honor, I wonder if we could just wait for a minute at this time.
No, Daddy Shortnut. That would be so unnatural.
Other witness you had scheduled for this afternoon had plane connection problems, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you're out of witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take our afternoon recess at this time. Please remember the admonition. I hope you beat the trick-or-treaters to your house. Have a nice evening.
Aw,
And sir, could you please state your full
it was Halloween. Not just the time of Halloween. It was actually Halloween. Well, isn't that cute? She had her Halloween stuff on because she didn't have it on today. Who's this fella? All right, we got about, 26 minutes.
name for the record and spell your last name?
It's Jason Prantill, Prantil.
Thank you.
Sir, what
That
did
is some
you do?
hair.
I manage a restaurant in La Jolla.
Yeah, which restaurant's that?
It's Chuck's Steakhouse.
In 1989, were you working at Chuck's Steakhouse?
Yes, I was.
Okay, and did you know someone named Lee Broderick?
Yes, I did.
And what was your relationship with Lee Broderick at that time?
We were living together. She's my girlfriend.
Okay. And are you still boyfriend girlfriend?
No.
Okay. Did you come to know Elizabeth Broderick, Betty Broderick, during the time that you were dating Lee?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Were you friends with Elizabeth Broderick? Did mine go friendly? How would you describe it?
It was a friendly relationship. I got along with her.
Okay. Did you also have opportunity? Did you have opportunities to be around her house?
Yes, I did.
And did you have an opportunity to be around Lee's father's house?
Yes, I did.
Do you remember on November 5th, 1989, Elizabeth Broderick coming over to the house where you worked?
Yes, I did.
Okay. When she came over, what was her demeanor? How was she acting?
Well, she was mumbling about not making much sense. She was very incoherent that morning.
Okay. Was she happy, sad, crying?
She was just a big collage of emotions that morning, really.
Yeah. Did you talk about something that happened at Dan Broderick's house that morning?
She mentioned something about going over there and resolving the situation she had between herself and Daniel.
Okay. Did she tell you whether she had shot somebody when she was over there?
She said she confronted him, and she said she couldn't take it anymore, and she just shot.
Did she tell you how many times she shot?
She said once or twice. She didn't know after that.
Did she indicate whether she knew whether she had shot somebody?
No.
At some point in time, did you go with Elizabeth Broderick when she went to turn herself?
Yes, I did.
And she
When we were going to the police station to turn her in, she wrote down a will and testament, and she also had some instructions for Lee and I to take care of.
That was something she wrote in the card on there?
Yes.
And during the, did she mention anything, had she mentioned anything about suicide that day?
She briefly mentioned something to that extent.
Did she mention anything about it? Did it have anything to do with when she was over at Dan Broderick's house? Do you remember? Or?
It was vaguely related to that.
Did she say anything else about the shooting or the gun?
She said that she shot, and next thing she remembers, it was clicking, something to that.
I take it you didn't take any notes that day?
No, I didn't take any notes.
Okay.
He's like, do I look like a note
Did you
taker?
get to know her sister?
Get real.
Yes, I got to know Kim.
Would you be present when she would talk to her mother about things that were happening over at her father's house?
Yes, I was present.
Okay. What would her demeanor be? Would she be talking happy tones, complaining? How would she be?
Well, usually she'd be complaining about something to do with Linda and Dan, how silly they're, whatever they would do. Or she'd be in hysterics about something that she didn't agree with.
Did you ever hear Elizabeth Broderick's response to those about Kim's complaints?
She would say that, if you're so sick of living over there, why don't you just come live with me?
Did you see her other children, the boys around her too?
On occasion, I did see them together.
Okay. And how did they seem to be around their mother? Mad?
Yeah, they were pretty happy. They liked being over at their mom's house.
Did you hear Elizabeth Broderick use profanities?
I would hear her use profanities.
Did it usually relate to a particular subject, or was it all the time?
Well, definitely related to one subject.
And what was that?
Anything to do with the deceased.
Did she, the other times when she wasn't on that subject, did she seem to talk appropriately?
Most of the time she talked appropriately.
Did you ever have an opportunity to go over to Daniel Broderick's house when he was living there?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And did you ever talk to Elizabeth Broderick about things that you heard at Dan Broderick's house relationship? Things that you heard Linda saying about Broderick?
I remember going over to Betty's house with Lee. She called you the beast again, and she's calling you a bitch, and all this stuff.
And those were things that you were hearing?
Those were things that I heard.
Would you notice when you were over at Daniel Broderick's house, would you notice a difference in the way people felt over there, the children?
Well, sustained.
Okay. Was there did the children appear to be happy and carefree when they were over at Dan Broderick's house?
Well, they were to a point happy and carefree when Dan wasn't around. But when he was around, it was like they were intimidated on doing anything rash or, anything normal of kids their age.
I have no further questions.
Cross down.
Thank you, Your Honor. You indicated, Mr. Prentel, that when Elizabeth Broderick came over to your house or your apartment that morning on November the 5th, that Your words were that she mentioned something about going over there to Dan and Linda's house. She told you specifically that she had come from Dan and Linda's house, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And she told you exactly how she'd gotten into their house. She told you that she had gone around to the back door and gone in the back door, correct?
She mentioned something about going around into the back door.
Okay. She told you that that's how she had done it, correct?
Amongst all of her ramblings, she mentioned that.
Okay. And she told you that she had a key and that she used the key to get into the back door.
She mentioned something about that also.
And she told you that she went into their room by going down the hallway and through the TV room and in the back door, correct?
Correct, vaguely. She said that.
Okay. Well, it wasn't real vague in your recollection when you gave a statement to the police officer that day, was it? You described specifically that she had told you doing those things, correct?
Correct, but that was about the third time I went over that. I've said the story about 3 or 4 times before it was actually on tape.
Okay, when you interviewed, I'm talking about when you interviewed with Detective Allen on the day of November the 5th. You did give an interview to him that day, correct?
Yes, I did. And the one that was taped, the one that was recorded, was about the third time I've been over this.
Okay. And you also indicated that when she went into the room that she shot at Dan Broderick. She told you she'd shot at him, correct?
Correct.
And she told you that he said to her, okay, you shot me, you killed me. He responded to her when she shot.
Correct.
She also told you that she pulled out the phone.
No, she didn't.
You didn't hear her say that?
No, I don't recall.
She told you that, specifically that she went in the back door of the bedroom, and that once she saw him, she said she couldn't take it anymore, and that's when she unloaded on him, correct?
Correct.
Now, when she was at the house there, she asked you and Lee to go over to her house on Calle de Cielo and get some things, right?
Correct.
And you went with Lee to get those things.
Correct.
And where was it that she wrote this list of things for you to do?
She wrote that at our apartment.
While you were all sitting there in the apartment, she wrote it?
Yes.
So it wasn't later on when you were in the car at the police, right?
She wrote down the will in the car. And I believe she wrote down some of her instructions that in the apartment, and then she wrote down the rest of them in the car.
Sorry, may I have Marcus? People's Exhibit 64, where it appears to be a photograph of.
Should be 65.
Here's to be a photograph of, a very nice photograph of Mr. Jason Ventura.
Smart.
If you could take a look at this, Mr. Canfield, do you recognize that photograph?
It's kind of resembling.
Were you a model at some point?
Yes.
Okay. And is that what Mrs. Broderick wrote the list of things down for you all to do or for information to give to Lee that morning?
Yes.
Okay. Now there's some writing on there. You recognize that writing as Mrs. Broderick's handwriting. Is that correct?
Correct.
There's some writing on there that's in pencil, and there's some writing on there that's in pen. Can you explain why there's 2 different writings on there?
I can't really recall.
Okay.
It might be what she wrote in the car, but
Well, this was something that was sitting around there in your apartment, right? And that's why it was used for her to write on?
yes.
And were you there when she wrote the $10,000 check to Lee?
I can't recall. I don't remember when she wrote it. I don't remember.
Do you remember her writing the $10,000 check for Lee?
No, I can't recall.
And when she sent the 2 of you to go over to the condominium, not the house on Calle de Cielo, but to the condo, what was it that she wanted you to get from the condo?
She wanted us to get her diary and this book that she's been writing. It's an autobiography, really.
So she specifically directed you to get those specific things, right?
Correct.
And she told you exactly where to find them in the condominium.
Correct.
And did you find those?
Yes, I did.
You and Lee went into the condo and got them?
Yes.
How was it that you got into the condo?
Well, Lee boosted me up, and we didn't have the key, so I had to break in through the window on the second story.
And did you just get the diaries and the book, or did you get other things for her?
We just got the diaries and the book and got out of there.
Just specifically the diaries themselves, you picked them up, and specifically the book, you got that as well.
Correct.
You told Detective Allen that day that Elizabeth Broderick told you that she had shot Mr. Broderick twice, correct?
She said she shot him once or twice. Correct.
Do you recall specifically saying that she said that she shot him twice?
I specifically recall that she said she shot him once or twice.
If I could just show you an investigative report dated November 5th, 1989. And referring to page 1, the last paragraph here, if you would just read that sentence to yourself. Does that refresh your recollection about what she said, or how many times she said she shot Mr. Broderick?
This is over 2 years old. I mean, it's vaguely to the point what I said, but I remember her saying once or twice.
Okay.
So I guess I might have said twice.
You might have said that to to Detective Allen on that day, November 5th.
Yes.
Your Honor, I object to showing in the summary there is a tape. And I think the proper
Sustained.
I'm just showing him the report to refresh his recollection.
That's all right, you've got that in. On to something else.
Okay. Now, you indicated that you had heard Elizabeth Broderick use what might be referred to as inappropriate language in front of the boys, correct?
Rarely.
Okay. And that would be when she would be angry at their father for one reason or another.
That was the basis of her using profanities in front of the boys.
And did she ever explain to you why she used profanities in front of the boys if she was angry at their father?
She was just furious at him.
Okay. But she wasn't talking to their father, right? She was talking to the boys when she used that language.
Only if he was brought up some way. If he was brought up, that's when she would use the profanities.
She also used that type of language to Lee when she got angry at Lee, didn't she?
Correct.
Okay. So when you say she only used inappropriate language in relation to Mr. Broderick, that's not true, is it? If she got angry at Lee, she'd call Lee a bitch. She'd write, quote, fuck you on
Only
the
in front of the
mirror.
boys. She would use profanities when she mentioned the word damn. In front of Lee and myself, she would use profanities.
I'm talking about when she would simply get angry at Lee and it didn't have anything to do with her father.
Yes, she would use profanities at her in my presence, but not when the boys were around.
Okay. But she would use profanities when she was angry, even though the anger wasn't directed at Deanna or Linda Broderick, correct?
Correct.
And how many times would you say you were actually over at Mr. Broderick's house when Mr. Broderick was there with the boys?
On a few occasions, not too
Only
many
on a few
occasions.
occasions. Okay. And you never saw Mr. Broderick playing basketball with the boys when he got home from work?
No,
You never saw him interacting with the boys, helping them with their homework in the evening?
no,
You never saw him taking them on camping trips and taking them to baseball games, things like that?
no. I saw him take him to the movies, I think once, yeah.
And you said that the defendant vaguely related something about suicide that morning?
Yes.
What was it that she vaguely related?
She just mentioned something about suicide that morning when she was mumbling on about all the things that were going on.
Okay, but she didn't say anything specific about when it was that she felt that way or what it related to? Didn't put it in any context?
I think it was related to going over there, but I'm not certain.
You didn't say anything about her making any statements like that when you talked to Detective Allen, did you?
No.
And you didn't say anything to Detective Allen about her saying anything about the gun clicking more times, did you?
I might have the first version or the second version.
When you were sat down and had a complete, full interview with Detective Allen, you didn't say anything about that, did you?
I might have the first or second version when recorded. What you have there is what I said.
I have a further question.
Correct. The time that you were talking to Detective Allen, how long were you down there before you were taped?
Well, we were put in the back of a car, and then we were in the car for about 45 minutes, and then we were sent to our apartment, and then we were there for another hour or so, and then we went downtown, and I don't even know how long we were there. It might have been 2 hours.
Okay. And I take it during that period of time, Detective Allen was going through this with you another time?
Yes.
Okay. And the tape where you actually had a conversation was about 15, 20 minutes tape?
About that long, yes.
And did, during the time that you were there, what was your physical state while you were waiting to talk to Detective Allen?
Well, I worked the night before, and I was woken up at around 7 o'clock, and we didn't have anything to eat. And it was by the time we made the tape, it was probably about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I really wasn't completely all together.
Did you even know what had happened? I mean, when did you learn that Mr. Broderick actually was shot?
We learned right when the patrolman picked us up, and we met with the other patrolman and the officer on Cass and Garnett at some bank. And that's when we found out, or that's when I found out.
I have no further questions.
Recross.
You're not saying that anything said to Detective Allen wasn't true at the time, are you?
No.
Nothing further.
Witness be excused. Ms. Wells.
No objection.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mandel.
Yes, Frank Virgilia, Your Honor. Virgilia.
Do you sound like the testimony about to give and the matter of what shall the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Sir, could you have a seat in the witness stand?
Morning, sir. How are you?
Probably.
And sir, could you state your full name for the record and spell your last name?
First name is Frank J. Bisceglia, B like in boy, Isceglia.
Thank you.
Mr. Virgilia, if you have trouble hearing me, let me know. If you're not
Certainly
sure. Okay. Do you know Elizabeth Broderick here at the end of consultation? Do you know this lady here who I have my hand on at the end of consultation? Can you hear me?
Yes.
And okay. Are you related to her?
I'm her father.
Okay. On November 5th, 1989, did you receive a phone call from her?
Yes, sir. I received a call about 11 o'clock our time, which would be approximately 8 o'clock your time here.
Okay. You were living in New York?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when you talked to her, what was she like on the phone?
She was sobbing. She was very hysterical. And she kept saying, Dan is driving me up the wall. He's driving me crazy. I feel like committing suicide. And I said, Betty Ann, calm down, calm down. Everything will be all right. And before I knew it, she hung up.
Okay. Now, what was she like before she hung up? And was she
She was still sobbing, very upset.
And that was the end of the conversation?
That's right. She hung up.
I have no further questions.
Cross down.
Mr. Bisceglia, did your daughter tell you where she was calling from?
No, she didn't.
See you, Gabby. Have a good rest of your night. Thanks for all your help. And we are almost done, guys. Like a minute. 1 minute.
She didn't tell you that she was at Lee's house?
No.
And did she tell you that she had come
I
from
heard it.
Dan and Linda's house and shot them?
Never mentioned a word about that.
So she never said anything about the fact that she had just shot 2 people?
Not at all.
The only thing she was saying to you was that Dan was driving her crazy.
That's right. Very upset and driving her crazy.
Did you get... Well, how long was this conversation before she hung up?
I would say no more than a minute and a half.
When was it that you found out that Dan and Linda Broderick had been killed?
About an hour and a half later, Gail Forbes called me up telling me that Dan and Linda were murdered and Betty Ann is the prime suspect.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Redirect.
No.
Witness be excused.
Yes.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, we did it. Another day down. And guess what? I think tomorrow brings us to. Let me find it. We get Betty herself, her words. We get Betty for a long time. We're going to get a lot of Betty. That's all I'm going to say. So, if people aren't watching Valo, I will start earlier. I was trying to get everybody a time to watch Valo. So, I can, Ronnie, I know you've got a mod. Let me see how long tomorrow is for part 1 of 12 of Betty. All right, tomorrow's 2 hours. So, if I start at 6:30, I know that won't put me right towards the end of Valo, but still gives you guys time to finish Valo and get it over. Is that okay? Like PM Eastern time? Sorry. So it's okay, Ronnie. All right. So let's do. All right. Holly, are you watching Valo? I don't want to mess up anybody's time. All right. Let's plan on 6:30. How about that? Let's do that. Day 1 of Betty, part 1 of 12. I should say. Not day 1, part 1. I have a feeling we're going to see some things we haven't seen. You can't watch of any more of Valo? Yeah, I can't. Well, the Friday thing totally messed me up. So, and then I just haven't. I did watch her get kicked out because that was fun. And I'm like, perfect time to zapper. Why did you not use the zapper? So, okay, let's do 6:30 p.m. tomorrow Eastern time. We will get going with Betty. Thank you guys all for hanging out. I appreciate it. It's always fun. I wish the mannequins would have stayed because it would have been even better. But they didn't. So we'll have to just buckle up and see what all Betty brings us. I bet it'll be good and truthful. That's right. Betty cannot tell a lie. Never, ever, ever has she ever in her life. And how do we play that game? Because I can never remember. She has to do whatever it is that means you're lying. She has the Superman jump at the judge. I bet you she could go after a witness. I bet you the judge is just going, if she even flinches, like she's going to do something, you guys just get her. Just buzz her. It's all right. It'll be all good. Yes, everyone, have a good evening. Enjoy whatever you're doing. It is nice weather here. For now, it's not raining. I don't need a boat anymore. Other than that, I will see you guys all tomorrow on Wednesday. And I will, of course you are, Flashman. See you guys all later.